Sam's ship is standing in the fields near Sandy Bay Caravan Park, where the pile of wood with a K shape, the same location where Sam's ship was parked before the adventures begin. Sam is sitting in his ship. His phone is leaning on the desk, recording Sam sitting on the bed saying, "Hello, welcome to my TV series? Yes, series. 10 years of adventures. Wow, doesn't time flies?" Meanwhile, Lee Armstrong gets a view of caravans to see if there's any sign of activity. Nothing too suspicious seems to be going on around there, although there was hardly any people walking around the site. Froid checks through the hedges and there was nothing, so he walks back to where Sam's ship is, followed by Lee and Dan Allen, believing there's nothing going on. Sam opened his ship door and walked out, saying, according to scanners, there's an activity in Sandy Bay Caravan Park. Dan pointed out a movement, so he, Sam, Lee and Froid has a proper look, and suddenly they discovered an army of Cybermen and Daleks roaming around in Caravan Park. So Dan, Lee and Froid got their guns reloaded and ready. Sam grabbed his anti-time device from his ship and said, "I knew it!" As soon as Cybermen and Daleks comes nearer, Sam and his mates got closer. They started firing their guns. There's people screaming and running. There's few explosions at the caravan park. Couple of security guards were exterminated. Dan said, "Don't worry, Sam, you won't lose me to that again," thinking back when he got upgraded by the Cyberman once, and the time reversed where he's human again. After a while, as the caravan site is full of red and blue lasers flying and explosions, Cybermen and Daleks were defeated. Sam and his friends were relieved. As they walked to Sam's ship, Dan decided to stay as he's got his family to look after, so Sam understands and makes a farewell to him. Lee and Froid said goodbye to him and said it was nice to see him again. Sam, Lee and Froid walked back inside Sam's ship, so Sam pressed the button and Dan outside watched the ship fade away with the sound of rocket launching. So Dan said, "I miss that sound. My travelling days were happy days." Sam is getting the readings from the planet Vorton. Lee asked, "Is that the planet where Vortex from like?" So Sam replied, "Yes, I don't know why I'm getting readings, as Vortex died. Maybe something's invading it." Somewhere in space, Rowan's ship is flying by. Rowan Fendahl, in humanoid form instead of Lego, is getting reports of the incidents on planet Vorton. So Rowan's ship flew down to planet Vorton, a planet full of blue rocks, caves and crystals. The door opened and Rowan got out. He gets his blaster out of his belt. He can hear a group of people marching louder and louder. Stormtroopers from Star Wars universe showed up. One of them shouted, "Blast him!" So a lot of red lasers is flying in one direction. Coming from the blasters Stormtroopers are holding, Rowan fires his blaster back at them, with blue laser flying out of his. Few of the Stormtroopers fell down on the ground. Rowan took cover, as there's too many of them. Suddenly, all the Stormtroopers are down, so Rowan looked, and there was Sam, Lee and Froid. So Rowan was grateful that he got help, and wondering what was going on. Sam had no idea, but he realises that there's franchise characters invading his world, and that he's having to kill some of them and take some back in their worlds. At the other side of Vorton, there's Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf as Lego minifigures, battling Stormtroopers. Sam and his team heard the commotion, so they ran around the planet and found the Stormtroopers. So Sam, Lee, Froid and Rowan fired their guns and shot the Stormtroopers dead. At London on Earth, Neil, who Sam met at Newcastle College once, was sitting on the bench scrolling on Facebook with Repti, the robot green snake, next to him. Neil comments that the world is going crazy after seeing the news of attacks in Sandy Bay. Suddenly, there was a sound of crash. Neil and Repti looked, and they noticed Stay Puft Marshmallowman marching down the London right past Big Ben. So Repti fires a laser from his eyes. After Sam, Lee, Froid, Rowan, Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf finished battling Stormtroopers on Vorton, they ran to Rowan's ship. Sam realises that all Stormtroopers on Vorton taken care of. There's lots of activities in England on Earth, half of them in London and other half in Newcastle. So Rowan suggests that he goes down to London and takes his team with him. Lee phones his friends from Armstrong Industries to tell them to defend Newcastle. Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf plan to go down to London as well. In Newcastle, there's Cybermen, Daleks and Stormtroopers shooting. There's few explosions. There's scared people running. Some were killed. Stay Puft marches down in London, followed by Daleks. Neil and Repti not knowing what to do. At Vorton, Rowan got his ship. Then Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf got in with him. The glass door closes. Rowan started his ship and flew away. Sam, Lee and Froid ran around the Vorton caves, and by the time they got to Sam's ship, there was Frankenstein with robotic body. Sam, Lee and Froid slowly moved back. Sam sonicked the Frankenstein with his sonic screwdriver and realises something, and then said, "It's the same Frankenstein I encountered in my ship once. Someone must have reconstructed him." As soon as Frankenstein walks closer and closer, Sam tried shooting him with his anti-time device, but the red laser deflected from his chest. So Lee and Froid ran in one direction, and Sam ran at the other. Frankenstein struggles which one to capture. Frankenstein almost grabs Lee. Eventually, Sam, Lee and Froid reached to Sam's ship. The door opened. They got inside and slammed the door just in time. While Frankenstein angrily tries to break into Sam's ship, Lee asks Sam what kind of Frankenstein it was. So Sam explained, "It's an alien Frankenstein from the planet Frankenworld. I woke up wearing a cloak because he tried to turn me into one." And Lee asked, "Anything else I need to know about?" So Sam replied, "Unlike Frankenstein's story on Earth, they have different spelling. Stein spelled S-T-I-E-N instead of S-T-E-I-N. Like an American spelling for colour, as it doesn't have the letter U in it." Sam pressed the button and his ship dematerialised. Sam's ship gets an alarm, so Lee asked, "What was that?" So Sam looked at the scanner and noticed that something is inside his ship, and there was a blue smoke with a floating head of a half man, half ape. It was Marcella's ghost. Sam was confused. Lee asked who he is, so Sam explained that legend has it Marcella was a founder of Trenzilords. Before then, they were called Trenzian. So then he asked what the problem was. So Marcella explained that there is a way to stop gateway portals, and Sam is the last hope. After the ghost fades away, Sam is not understanding what to do. How can he stop gateway from closing forever? Suddenly, his ship is acting like an aggressive roller coaster, so Sam, Lee and Froid grab onto the desk. While there's sparks on the console, Sam's ship is speeding through multiverse. Sam noticed it's going very long way from his world. Rowan's ship is flying down to Earth, racing towards London. Rowan presses the communicator switch, telling Blob Skinner to drop his adopted son, Abel, off to Rixton's place. there was a war on Earth. Batman is not liking the sound of it. Meanwhile, on the planet Drield, in another universe, the sky is bright orange. There's a big futuristic looking cafe with a big sign that reads, Cafe of Tog Ghillies. A silver-headed man wears a black hat and tuxedo, serves customers some food and drinks, so his colleague, G. reported to him that there's an incoming outsider. Sam's ship crash-landed at the area outside of the dark cave, and the sky is dark orange with ashes. The field is like beach in winter. Sam, Lee and Froid recovered from the bumpy journey. Sam looked at the scanner and realised he's a lot far away from his universe, further than ever, and also said even Translords never came this far. There might be a reason. So Sam puts on his long black coat. He opened the door and walked out of his ship, with Lee and Froid following him. Froid closed the door. Sam acknowledges that he could be the first multiverse traveller from his world to come as far as Driverse, which is the universe he, Lee and Froid have stumbled across. Sam wondered if Marcella led them there. Sam notices parts of technology and was growing a little suspicious. And Lee shouted, Sam, Froid, look! So they looked at something coming up from the ground. It was Xenomorph from Alien franchise. It roared, so Sam fired his anti-time device at Xenomorph and destroyed. Suddenly, there were more Xenomorphs coming, so Sam, Lee, Froid quickly ran. At Newcastle on Earth, Armstrong Industries agents fired their guns at Cybermen, Daleks and Stormtroopers. The town was packed with explosions, lasers and bullets. The armed police were holding the enemies off. While at London, Rowan is holding the device that opens the gateway given by Sam. So he points it at the Marshmallowman. The blue vortex fires and it hit directly at Marshmallowman and he fades away, meaning he'll be sent back to Ghostbusters universe. Stormtroopers, Daleks and Cybermen are still attacking. Rowan, Repti, Neil, Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf got their weapons ready and ran towards them, with Rowan's troopers behind, followed by Blob Skinner, Frizz and Anguirus. There's lots of lasers and bullets flying all over London Street. Sam, Froid and Lee ran through an open door and they slammed it together, leaving Xenomorphs outside. Froid barricaded the door with objects he can find. The door is holding them off. Sam noticed inside a room there was a chair, an old desk, and parts of teleportation look-alike device, so he picked his sonic screwdriver out of his pocket. He sonics the parts and said, I knew it! It's impossible. They can't have this sort of technology. Lee asked what it was, and Sam answered, It's a universe paradox machine. Lee asked if it was safe, so Sam explained it. It depends on what it's doing, but at the moment, it's not on, and needs to be guarded. The Doctor showed up, the one in Ncuti Gatwa's form, and said, My thoughts exactly, Sam. Hello, Lee and Froid. I'm the Doctor. So Lee replied, Anna, you remind me of this lad, Eric, from a Netflix show. Yes, we know, Lee, Sam interrupted, and asked, How long were you here, Doctor? How did you get here? So the Doctor replied, I don't know. One moment I was in the TARDIS, I was about to see Ruby Sunday, and then the next thing I woke up here. Those stone gargoyles, I had to stop them. Beware, there's more of them. Sam, Lee and Froid thanked the Doctor for the warning and also asked him how he worked out about the universe paradox machine. So the Doctor explains that he scanned it with his sonic screwdriver, he dismantled it and guarded it as he suspects there's something dodgy about it. He's been guarding it since. So Sam has an idea. He suggests we build that device and lure the Xenomorphs back into their world. The Doctor wasn't sure about it at first, but then agreed. So Sam, Lee, Froid and Doctor picked up the parts of the machine. Tog Ghillies, meanwhile, looked at the scanner in the kitchen and said to Jeanne that someone needs to bring the guests to the cafe to avoid death by the gargoyles. Half of Cybermen, Daleks and Stormtroopers in London are dead, and other half are sent back into their world. Rowan confirmed that the battle in London has won. Neil and Repty was pleased to meet Rowan and said their goodbyes, and then walked away. Rowan offered Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf a lift. They accepted the offer. Armstrong Industries agents are still shooting at the enemies, but there's hardly any of the invaders left. Newcastle is covered in smoke with all the war going on. Rowan climbed inside his ship alongside Blop, Frizz, Anguirus, Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf. The glass door closes, the engines start, and Rowan's ship lift off. So Rowan pressed the communicator switch again to let Rixton know that he and his team are coming back, also adding that he's got 3 guests. Back on Drield, Sam has finished building the device and it's activated and noticed how much energy it has. It's not a lot. So then Sam said, first we're going to let the Xenomorphs in and use this device to send them back into their world. I've set the coordinates on this thing. Keep an eye on how much energy it'll have left. Once it's almost used up, set it on Hunava, your world, and get yourself out, Doctor. So the Doctor understands. Froid decided to stay with the Doctor and help. He also needs to get back to his world for his son, Skellingman. They both got a job to do. So Sam agreed with the idea and said, "Are we ready?" So everyone admitted that they're ready. Sam moved a pile of stuff away from the door. There was few of Xenomorphs bursting in, so then the Doctor pressed the button and the light grabbed all Xenomorphs, and the next thing happened. They disappeared, and Sam said, "Perfect! They're back in the alien world. If there's any more franchise characters, set it onto their world and send them back there. But remember, if it reaches very low, yous know what to do." The Doctor and Froid understands. The Doctor hugged Sam and then Lee. Sam shook hands with Froid, and then Lee fist bumped Froid, and they said goodbye, then walked to the other door. Sam grabs the flaming torch on the wall and slowly walked down the cave corridor, with Lee following him. Sam had a thought and commented, "I've seen those parts of device before. I don't know how they got here." Lee asked, "What we're doing, like?" And Sam replied, "Marcella has confirmed that there's a way to stop portals for good. I need to find that out." Sam and Lee got to the dark, rusty big door, so he grabs the handle, he opened it, and there's a pink light at the other side. Sam and Lee got through. Sam dropped the torch as he and Lee discovered a big top at the area, so Lee asked, "Are you for real?" with a nervous voice. So Sam shouted, "Come on!" So they both ran to the big top, and inside there was arcade machine, pile of toys, popcorn machine and balloons. Sam noticed a glimpse of a man who's playing hide and seek behind the popcorn machine. So Sam ran towards him and Mr. Clown stands up. Lee was freaking out. "Balloons were invented in 1824 by Michael Faraday for hydrogen experiments. Now they've been used for flying transport and for fun, like parties," laughed Mr. Clown, while Sam gave a long stare, remembering meeting him before, almost 8 years ago. So Mr. Clown said, "We meet again, Sam." So he opened the door and walked through. As soon as the door slammed, Sam and Lee ran. Sam opened the door, and inside was a dark corridor with purple lights and sound of Clown laughing. Sam and Lee entered. As soon as the door slammed, it disappeared. Sam has a proper look to find a way out. So Lee asked, "Who's this Mr. Clown like?" Sam explained, "Years ago, when me, Dan and Froid arrived in outer space amusement park, he was there. He had two friends. One of them hypnotized Dan and Froid, turned them against me, but I sorted it, no problem. When we went back on Earth, remember in Halloween 2016, where the sky turned into rainbow colour?" Lee nodded, and Sam replied that it was him. So Lee asked, "How did you stop him?" So Sam answered, "I didn't. Lou Gown did. I thought he was dead, until now." So Sam found the door, he opened it, and the room is full of balloons floating, and the bridge is above the lava. Mr. Clown's voice is heard and says, "Normally you can pop a balloon, but here is the opposite, if you make any contact." Sam and Lee carefully walked over the bridge, slowly, trying hard not to look at the lava below. So Sam Lee continued walking slowly, and Lee said, "I hate this. You know I hate clowns." Sam replied, "I know. We're going to get out of this. Facing your fears will help you feel more confident." Lee almost slipped over, and Sam grabbed him by the arm. Lee almost bumped his head on the balloon, nice and slowly walking on the bridge, and they made it to the wooden door. Sam and Lee walked inside, and Mr. Clown is standing there. Sam asked, "How did you get to this world? You died in my bungalow last time I saw you." So Mr. Clown said, "I am indestructible. After your friend shot me, the gateway picked me up and dropped me here." So Sam said, "So you've been here for almost 8 years. That explains why our meetings haven't happened often. Did you bring those foes on Earth?" Mr. Clown replied, "I did no such thing. That's someone else's fun. But he's here." Sam asked, "Who?" Mr. Clown laughed and said, "I know you'll never find out, because you got to get past me, but you can't stop me." Sam used his sonic screwdriver at the door, where he and Lee just came through. The door swung open, the balloons flew in, Sam and Lee ducked, the balloons hit Mr. Clown, and he's blown up. Sam hoped it works using Mr. Clown's tricks against him, so Sam walked to the wall of the big top, he ripped it like a paper. Sam and Lee find themselves in a futuristic looking city with bright orange sky. There was no people walking, it was clear as zombie apocalypse. Sam looked at something. There was someone waving at him from the toy shop. So they both burst into the toy shop. Sam was stunned. Who he's seeing? The Toymaker from Doctor Who world. He seemed really happy to meet Sam, so Lee asked who he was, and Sam told him who he is. Then Toymaker says, "Time for a game. Come and find me." Toymaker laughed as he got through the door and slammed, so Sam opened it. He and Lee walked inside a funhouse type corridor. Sam realizes it's the celestial toy room, wandering around to look through many doors, and inside they're all the same room. Lee said, "I hope it's worth being here." And Sam replied, "I just need to find a way out and find the Toymaker. I'll need to challenge him to a game." He did best of 3 with the Doctor. Sam opened the door, and they both walked inside a bedroom. Suddenly, there was a puppet moving towards them. Sam and Lee quickly ran, after trying many doors. They went inside a room, the door closed, and disappeared. Sam and Lee fell onto a wooden chair. They find themselves as the audience of the Toymaker's puppet show. Sam was thinking, "Oh no, I know what this is." So the Toymaker behind the puppet theatre was looking at Lee and said, "Welcome to the show. Please switch off your phones. This is for you, Lee Armstrong. This will happen to Sam's friends behind your back. He has a friend called Black Vic," showing the puppet of his likeness. and continued, yes, his clone made by his console. Then he was shot by zombie elves because he didn't get out the way. He cut the strings with the scissors, and Sam replied, he died saving me, which is why he didn't move. So the Toymaker said, well, that's all right then. He also has a hologram friend called Lugown, showing his puppet, and said, also his resemblance, he was exterminated by a supreme Dalek, cutting the strings, and Sam said, but his consciousness survives. Toymaker replied, well, that's all right then. And Lee commented that he already knows. Sam already told him. So then the Toymaker said, you won't know this one. He met Dan Allen, showing his puppet, and said, but he was converted into Cyberman and killed by a Dalek, cutting the strings, and Sam said, time got reversed, so it never even happened. So Toymaker shouted, oh, well, that's all right then. He met Skellyman, showing his puppet, and said, he was killed by Lemon and died in a fake hotel of ghosts, cutting his strings. Then Sam said, but his past self is still living in our time. And Toymaker screamed, oh, well, that's all right then. There came half of population wiped out, caused by the Joker, as Citizens of Marvel Universe refers it as blip. While you were blipped, Sam did not get blipped. Oh no, he was still alive, but stuck somewhere in space. So Sam stood up and said, I challenge you to a game. So Lee watched Sam and the Toymaker walk to the table and sat down on the chair. So Toymaker said, I accept your challenge. The gateway portal appeared, and I stumbled here, making jigsaws out of multiverse. Yes, Sam, I'm aware in your world I'm a fictional character from a BBC TV programme called Doctor Who, running since 1963. So Sam asked, why didn't you mention it to the Doctor? The Toymaker said, because this is our game. I was originally played by Michael Gough in 1960s. I was supposed to return in the 80s, but eventually adapted as Audiobook Finish, voiced by David Bailey, and eventually returned in 2020s, played by Neil Patrick Harris, capable of sing, dance, perform, sleight of hand, and do card tricks. Not bad. So Sam said, so the fact that you're the Toymaker, the god of games in the Whoniverse, the father of Maestro, the god of music, why did they sing that you're mean? Toymaker replied, you have to keep watching the programme. If it gets explained, it gets explained. That's how the games work. And one last thing to mention to you, Sam. Someone is returning. So Sam asked who it was, and Toymaker answered, that's someone else's game. Let's play card game Doctor Who Top Trumps. Sam is liking the idea. Toymaker shuffles the cards and gave Sam the half and kept the other. So Lee asked, are you sure this is a good idea, Sam? What if he cheats? So Toymaker turned around and said, no, that'll be shameful. Sam added, that's something that the Toymaker would never do. Lee asked, are you sure, Sam? And Sam answered, the rules of the game are the only rules that the Toymaker follows. They bind his entire existence. Either I win or he wins, and that'll be it. I'll go first. So Sam reads the cards. Each card has pictures of Doctor Who characters and has statistics which define its strengths and weaknesses. Players choose which of these statistics will be higher than other players' card. The winner keeps both cards and play resumes. After a while, Sam has won the game and Toymaker has lost. So Sam got up and said, my prize, Toymaker, is the information of Gateway Portal's whereabouts and return you to Doctor Who World and stay there forever. So Toymaker floats and said, "No fair, you can't do that." Toymaker fades away, and the whole room dematerialized. So Sam and Lee found themselves in the alley of the city. There was a green arrow pointing at the cafe where Tog Ghillies is working in. As Sam and Lee about to follow it, they can hear a sound of wings flapping, getting louder and louder. So they looked up, and there was 4 flying gargoyles racing towards them. Sam and Lee ran as fast as their legs can carry them to the cafe, so Tog opened the door to let Sam and Lee in. As they got in, Tog closed the door and barricaded it. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Froid managed to get the Cybermen and Daleks into the teleportation machine. The Doctor noticed it's running low. Froid said, "Keep going, it should be enough for another, and then us." The Doctor was okay with that. Sam and Lee sat around the table with Tog and Jean while the gargoyles tried to break in, but the force field is holding them off. Lee looked at the menu and asks for Chessburger, believing it's a cheeseburger in that universe. Sam wasn't hungry and wants to look around, so Tog and Jean walk back to the kitchen. Sam tells Lee to keep an eye on this place. He agrees. Sam opened the cellar door. He walked downstairs into the very dim cellar. Sam noticed a bright light circle on the floor, so he slowly walked towards it. He stood on it. Sam finds himself not in a cellar, but in an outer space office, and inside, the walls are made of blue rocks, there's blue crystals everywhere, and it looks like Vorton, and there are 2 men wearing blue armor suit. One of them said, "Borwin, is it true that Vortekius is taking control of the gateway portals?" So Borwin answered, "It's Lord Vortex, Scarvo, and yes, he is. He's a sorcerer. He doesn't agree with the rules Trenzalords have. He thinks it's a waste." Scarvo said, "I have to confess, I committed a crime. I found a book of Gateway. I discovered a secret, the soul of gateways." So Borwin said, "You're not supposed to know that. You can get executed for it. What do you know about it?" So Scarvo answered, "What I know is, ever since the gateways first opened, the spirit of it was splitted into 8 objects that keeps the portals active, including time." Sam was reminded of Horcrux in Harry Potter world. So Scarvo went on to say, "If they stay intact, portals will never stop. It'll take a stronger weapon to destroy one." So Borwin said, "Because they're so valuable and dangerous, that's why they're scattered and hidden in different planets and universes. The signs of them are dark blue or black objects with blue patterns, but they're all in different shapes. If you listen carefully, you hear the sound of buzzing." "Are you recording? Lord Vortek will kill you," Scarvo said, "which is why I'm uploading that recording to a universe far, far away into the Draverse. Hopefully, someone we can trust will eventually discover it. It could be many years or centuries should it go wrong." So the room vanished. Sam is back in the cellar and tried to process in his mind what he discovered. He remembered hearing the stories about Borwin and Scarvo. They lived on Vorton in the early years of the planet, long before the Earth was created. Sam ran up to the cafe, and Lee was given a burger with yellow tentacles inside it, which Lee reluctantly tried to eat. So Sam asked, "How was it?" Lee said, "That blue drink tastes like fish. What did you find out?" So Sam answered, "The souls of Gateway." After he explained what he heard, Lee said, "Do you know where they are?" Sam replied, "They could be in any universe. I know the signs of it. I know what they'll look like." Sam picked up a rectangular shaped dark blue object with light blue patterns on it with a hole, but no sound of buzzing. Sam found it on Middle Earth 3 years back, and eventually destroyed it with his key to his ship. Lee asked what it was, and Sam explained, "It's a soul of Gateway, and so is that token Rowan found on the planet Exogos. So Tog and Giain sat around the table. They intrigued about where Sam was from. Meanwhile, Stormtroopers got through the universe paradox machine. As they returned to Star Wars universe, the Doctor noticed it's very low. Froid suggested it's time to go. The Doctor agrees, so he switches the machine to Hooniverse mode. He got into the machine and said, "Farewell, Froid, take care. Send my love to Sam." The Doctor disappeared, and he reappeared inside his TARDIS. Froid switched it to the Universe mode, so he stepped on the machine and teleported away. Froid is on the planet Holotary. He's outside a futuristic-looking house. Skellingman walked up to him and asked how Sam was. Froid explains that he's doing fine as far as he's aware. There's work to do. Sam told Tog and Giain where he was from and how he got to the planet. So Tog explained, "Those beastly gargoyles have been attacking the city for years and killed my father. The cafe was originally his. I got the name after him, so he keeps the memory, so I took over the company. Still, the gargoyles wiped a lot of lives out. If only help got here sooner." So Tog got off the seat and stormed back into the kitchen, followed by Giain. Sam had his head down on the table. Then Lee asked, "Sam, what's up?" Then Sam tilted his head up, rubbing his face, and said, "He's right. I also thought of what the Toymaker said. If only I got here sooner. If I discovered the soul of Gateway sooner, looking at every inch of every universes, I would find every fragment and destroy them. Think of the lives I've lost. I could have saved. How can I be so stupid?" So Lee calmed him down and said, "No one's perfect, mate. Not even Trentalords could have known Sam. You have to understand, you cannot save everyone." Then Sam said, "What's the point of me trying if I can't save people?" Then Lee said, "Sam, you've saved many as you can. Without you, I wouldn't have been alive. No one on Earth would have been alive. When I set up a business, Armstrong Industries, nothing like the ones you've met, I will add. My job is protecting Earth from any threat. I did that because of you. You inspired me. I did it in your honour. No matter what happens, Sam, you keep going." Sam said, "Who would have thought, in my lifetime, first travelling to Moniverse, the centre of galaxy in that universe, Galactus blowing up my ship, sentenced to death, and suspended in space for months, leading to trying to get a home for Froid, 50% of population wiped out and resurrected, falling off the Empire State Building on Christmas, game on Trenzalore, multiverse battle on Pinnacle Desert twice, fought arcade in Murder World, the Universe War, the people I've lost, Blackvic, Lugown, Versa, and Skellingman. Anyway, can you look at any computers for the record about the gargoyles in case there's any ideas on how to stop them?" So then Lee agrees, and he got up from the chair. He snuck into the caretaker room, climbing down the stairs, and there was a computer. So Lee did a quick research. Tog and Giain sat around the table with Sam, discussing the ways of stopping the gargoyles, but Tog said it can't be done. Even the anti-time device couldn't stop them. Sam said, "There's got to be a way, surely." So Tog replied, "Don't call me Shirley." Sam said, "No, I mean Shirley." Never mind. Leaf couldn't believe what he's seeing on the computer. He looked at the footage. When gargoyles start to attack, there was a blue light in the sky. Someone murdered a man who identifies as the boss in the cafe, but his name wasn't Tog Ghillies. And the next thing, the screen went static. So Lee quickly hurried up the stairs. He ran to Sam and said he needs a private word. So Giain asked if everything was okay. Lee said, "Yeah, it's about my personal life, nothing too personal. I need to talk to Sam privately." Jane says, "No problem." While Lee and Sam ran off, Tog was staring suspiciously. Sam and Lee went inside the caretaker room. Lee was showing Sam the blurry video of the murder. So Sam grabbed his sonic screwdriver from his pocket. He pointed at the screen. He pressed the button. While the sonic is making noise, the screen is starting to sharpen. Tog, upstairs, has got a delivery at the cafe. It was something really big. In the container. After the footage was sharpened, Sam plays the video, and he froze as soon as he sees the blue light appearing in the sky. A lot of gargoyles flying down from there, attacking people, and at the alley, the boss of cafe was shot by a man. As soon as the murder turned around, it revealed to be Tog Ghillies. He also hacked into Billboard to name the building Cafe of Tog Ghillies. So Sam and Lee looked at each other, and Lee said, "We need to warn Jane." So Sam and Lee ran up the stairs. Tog noticed where they ran out from, so he says, "You are trespassing. That's a crime." So he raised his silver gun with blue at the end at Sam and Lee. They both got their hands up. Jane said, "Tog, what are you doing? You can't treat our customers that way. It's against the law." Tog shouted, "Silence!" Lee commented, "I've just read up your record. There was no Tog Ghillies here. The lad you killed and replaced is not your dad." And Sam added, "You're not from here at all. Who are you? And how did you get the reference about the Shirley bit? Which, you know, was from the airplane." So Tog said, "Wouldn't you like to know?" "Don't mind if I do this." So Tog pulled the lever, and there was a sound of power down, and Jane said, "Oh no, you've lowered down the defence. The gargoyles will get us." As Lee looks at the Cafe of Tog Ghillies sign, there was a brief static, and a couple of letters were jumping for a second, so he got Sam to look. And then Sam said, "Lee, Jane, keep the doors closed, don't let them in." Then he turned around and asked Tog, "What is this?" as he's pointing at the sign, and added, "It's some kind of message, anagram, distress signal, or a cryptic clue." Meanwhile, at Sandaloris, Batman, Wyldstyle and Gandalf said their goodbyes to Rowan, wishing them good luck. Batman opens the door of the space gunship. The trio climb aboard. The door closes. Batman starts the engine. The gunship launched off from the sand, while Rowan stands and looks up. Lee and Jane lean as hard as they can on the door, while the gargoyles constantly throwing themselves at the building. Tog is still pointing his blaster at Sam, who's still staring at the static sign, with a brief second of words scrambling. Tog said, "You are right. I am not Tog Ghillies. I came up with a new name for the cafe to hide my identity." So Sam asked, "Who are you hiding from?" What Sam is seeing are the words on the sign scrambling. One of the letter G has disappeared. One E disappeared. Both I's and L's are removed from Ghillies. So the words on the sign reads, "Cafe of 2 GHS. Tog said, "I used the cafe and Tog as a disguise. Here comes my true name." So Sam looked. The word "of" disappeared. The words cafe swapped places with 2 GHS. Then letters scrambled into the words ghost face. And two words connected with each other. Sam was horrified and said, "The name for cafe is an anagram with additional letters." So Sam looked at Tog, who puts on Ghostface voice. "Do I seem like a cafe worker to you, Sam?" Sam said, "You can't be." And Tog said, "Oh, but I can be." And Jane asked, "What is going on if he's not really Tog Ghillies?" So the man with Tog Ghillies' name answered, "I am Ghostface, a Trenzalord who's a copy of Ghostface from Scream Universe. Me and Sam and Lee, we go way back. So Ghostface laughed and said, I'd like you to meet my pet. So the little metal door slid open. What looks like a mouse hole, the blue snake, slithered out, and Ghostface said, Grandpent the snake, this is Sam Birkinshaw. I'm his best enemy, and that's his friend, Lee Armstrong. So Sam asked if that was a delivery, and Ghostface said, wrong answer. So he pulls the lever, and the container opens, and Sam's ship is inside. G.A. asked what it was, and Sam says, it's my ship. He brought it here so he can escape. So Ghostface answered, correct. I've been here for over a year, and finally I can escape, along with Grandpent. Sam can hear the sound of buzzing from the snake, so Ghostface drops his gun at the table. He opens Sam's ship door, so G.A. picked up the gun. Ghostface turned around. The blue laser flew from the gun and hit Ghostface in the chest, and he fell slowly. So Grandpent bounced and bit G.A. in the neck and turns into blue pile of dust with skull on top, which freaked Lee out. And Sam said, he didn't have to do that. He was scared. Ghostface said, so was I. As soon as he let himself inside Sam's ship, Sam ran as fast as he could to get to the door, but it was too late. Ghostface is inside Sam's ship and deadlocked himself inside. Sam tried using the key, but it didn't work, and even Sonic Screwdriver wouldn't open the door. Then he shouted, let me in, as he's smacking the door, and then said, look, we're the last remaining of the Trenzalords. Just open the door. Ghostface said, no, I've been undrilled enough, but at least I can restart my life. I, Ghostface, will renew. So Ghostface falls lifeless onto the ground, and suddenly the purple fire burst out of his body. Sam noticed the purple particles spraying from Sam's ship. Lee shouted, I cannot hold those things off any longer. Ghostface has got Slenderman-alike head, but with stylized after Edvard Munch's painting The Scream. So Ghostface woke up. He stood up with excitement and said, okay then, Sam, now I've got the ship, I can travel anywhere, and you can't stop me. So Sam quickly uses his sonic screwdriver, and he sonicked his ship. The console was sparking, and Ghostface threw down the tuxedo he was wearing, and now he's in a long black cloak, and said, oh, nice try. Far away from the universe. Enjoy it. Farewell. So he pressed the button, and Sam's ship dematerialized in front of Sam, who's horrified, and Lee shouted, you better think of something, Sam, while the gargoyles pounded at the door.